stranger than fiction.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We're going to be taking a deep dive today into some pretty crazy stuff. AI safety, like that whole thing about will robots take over the world that we're all worried about.
Oh, yeah, that's a valid question for sure, especially with like how fast AI is advancing right now.
Exactly. And, OpenAI, the folks who made ChatGPT, well, they think they might have figured it out. They call it deliberative alignment. And everyone's kind of freaking out about it in the AI world.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, the goal is to get AI to, not just follow the rules, but actually understand why the rules are there.
So could you break that down a little, this deliberative alignment thing? It's basically giving AI a bunch of guidelines, like a rule book to be good.
Yeah, that's part of it. So, like, instead of just learning from a ton of examples, these new AI models get the whole rule book, like, straight up. The idea is that they'll be able to, like, think things through and use the rules properly.
So not just don't steal candy, but like, here's why stealing is wrong and how it affects people.
Yeah, exactly. Like giving them a moral compass or, well, like a digital version of one.
Right, that makes sense. But is it actually working, though? I mean, can we really trust AI to follow the rules when things get tough?
Well, OpenAI's been testing these new models like crazy, and the results are pretty promising so far. For example, like in one test, they tried to trick an AI into decoding this secret message with, instructions for illegal stuff.
Ooh, sneaky, sneaky. Did it work?
Nope. The model actually figured it out and just refused. It even, like, cited the specific safety guidelines it was following.
Whoa, that is impressive. So are we saying these AI models are like little angels now? Problem solved.
Well, not so fast. We are talking about super advanced technology here, and there are always going to be people trying to push the limits, trying to find loopholes and stuff. And guess what? There's already a hacker out there who's been, making the news for breaking OpenAI's safety measures.
Wait, really? Tell me more. Who is this? Like, digital rebel?
He calls himself Pliny the Liberator.
Pliny the Liberator. Seriously. Sounds like he's straight out of a comic book.
I know, right? But this guy is for real. He's been able to trick these safe AI models into doing all sorts of things they're not supposed to. Like, he got one to write an erotic story, even though it was, like, specifically programmed not to.
Whoa, that's wild. So maybe this whole AI safety thing isn't as, guaranteed as OpenAI wants us to think.
It's definitely still, a work in progress. OpenAI's been getting a lot of criticism lately, especially with some of their own people quitting because of safety concerns. Maybe they're trying to, like, get some trust back by, talking about all these new safety things.
Right, that makes sense. It feels like AI safety is this constant, like, back and forth. As soon as researchers figure something out, someone like Pliny comes along and breaks it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a race between the people trying to make safe and ethical AI and the people who just want to push the boundaries. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes not so much.
Yeah, that makes you wonder if it's even possible to make truly safe AI at all. Like, can we ever be 100% sure it will always play by the rules?
That's the big question, isn't it? And honestly, there's no easy answer. But one thing's for sure. We got to keep talking about it. The stakes are just too high to ignore the risks.
I agree. So what's next for OpenAI? How do they make these AI models even more secure? Especially with hackers like Pliny right behind them.
Well, their research shows that they've come up with like a 3-stage training process for these deliberative alignment models. It's kind of like sending them to AI boot camp.
AI boot camp. Tell me more.
So in the first stage, they focus on making the AI helpful. That's the basis of any good AI assistant.
Yeah, we don't want a useless AI running around. What's next?
Then comes the important part. They get taught all the safety rules. That's where all the ethical stuff and guidelines get, drilled into their digital brains.
So they're literally getting programmed with right and wrong.
In a way, yeah. They're learning what the boundaries are and, like, why they exist. And then finally, in the last stage of training, they work on their reasoning skills. That's where they learn to actually apply the rules to, like, complex real-world situations.
So it's not just memorizing. They're actually learning to think critically and ethically. That's pretty impressive, but how does that play out in the real world? Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine you're using an AI assistant to help you with work. And let's say you ask it to write a report on something sensitive, but you accidentally include confidential information.
Oh, that could be bad.
Right. A regular AI might just do what you said and include that information.
Not good.
But an AI trained with deliberative alignment would hopefully recognize that revealing that information could be bad. It would understand the rules about confidentiality and, like, apply them, even if it meant disobeying your direct command.
Okay, I can see how that would be super useful. But let's be honest, even with all this fancy training, can we be sure that AI will always make the right choice? I mean, Pliny the Liberator seems pretty set on finding the cracks in the system.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why OpenAI is constantly, like, updating their approach, running tests, and trying to figure out where the weaknesses are. They even have a new model now called O1. They say it's way more resilient to attacks than previous models.
Oh, one. Sounds mysterious. Is this like the next big thing for super safe AI?
They're hoping so. OpenAI has been comparing O1 to other leading AI systems like GPT-4, Claude 3.5, and Gemini 1.5 Pro, and they're saying O1 beats them all when it comes to like refusing bad requests and allowing harmless ones.
So it's like the top of its class in AI safety. That's pretty reassuring.
It's definitely a good step. But remember, we're in uncharted territory here. AI is changing so fast, and the challenges to safety are always evolving.
Very true. And let's not forget about Pliny the Liberator. He's probably already working on ways to crack O1.
Most likely. And that's what makes this field so fascinating and maybe a little scary. It's like a constant game of, uh, who's one step ahead? With the fate of, well, humanity hanging in the balance.
No pressure, right. But seriously, this is some heavy stuff. So, to lighten the mood a little, let's shift gears and talk about how this AI safety thing could actually benefit us, like in our daily lives. Can you give me some practical examples?
Absolutely. Imagine a world where, welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about some of the good stuff that AI safety could bring.
Yeah, because it's not all doom and gloom, right? AI could seriously make things easier for us.
Totally. Like, think about all those everyday things you do that AI could just handle. Scheduling, money stuff, even emails.
Ugh, emails.
Yeah.
If AI could take care of those, I'd be so happy.
Right. And with deliberative alignment, we could have AI assistants that, not only get things done, but do it ethically and responsibly too.
So, no more accidentally replying all to the wrong people.
Hopefully not. But it's bigger than just like avoiding awkward mistakes. Think about AI in, say, healthcare.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Imagine AI that can analyze tons of medical data, find patterns, and help doctors make better diagnoses.
That's amazing, like having a super smart medical expert with you.
Exactly. And with deliberative alignment, we can make sure those AI systems are giving advice that's not just effective, but also ethical, respecting things like patient choices and informed consent.
So no more AI doctors making decisions without talking to the patient first.
That's the goal. It's about making sure AI is used to help patients and doctors, not to replace them or like overrule them.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could really change things, but there's more to it than that, right? AI is already affecting our lives in so many ways.
You got it. From personalized education to, self-driving cars, AI is becoming part of everything we do.
Speaking of self-driving cars, that's where AI safety is, like
Yeah.
super important, right? I mean, we're talking about machines making life or death choices out there.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding accidents. It's about those cars making ethically sound decisions. Like, imagine a car has to swerve to avoid a pedestrian, but that puts the passenger at risk.
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's like that trolley problem, but in real life.
Exactly. These are the kinds of moral dilemmas AI will have to face, and we need to make sure they're ready to handle them responsibly.
So it's not just about rules, it's about teaching AI to think about values and make judgments in tough situations.
Exactly. And that leads us to another cool area of research: value alignment.
Value alignment, what's that?
It's about making sure AI systems are aligned with human values, not just following rules, but understanding and respecting things like empathy, fairness, compassion.
Whoa, that's deep. How do you even teach a machine empathy? That seems like a pretty human thing.
It's tough, for sure.
Yeah.
But researchers are trying some interesting stuff. One way is to, immerse AI models in human stories, literature, movies, you name it.
So like giving AI a crash course in humanities, AI going to film school.
Exactly. By showing AI all the messy stuff about human relationships and emotions, they can start to get a better grasp of what we value.
Okay, that makes sense. But human values can be, subjective and even contradictory sometimes. What happens when AI hits those gray areas?
That's where it gets really interesting. Value alignment isn't about giving AI a fixed set of values. It's about teaching them to think about values, understand the nuances, and make judgments based on the specific situation.
So they're not just robots with a moral code. They're actually learning to think about ethics.
That's the hope. It's one of the most exciting areas of AI research right now. Imagine AI that can help us solve ethical problems, navigate tricky social issues, and even help build a more fair and just world.
Wow, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi book.
It does, right?
Right.
But it's not as crazy as it seems. We're already seeing this potential in things like healthcare, education, even criminal justice reform.
Okay, this is all pretty mind-blowing. But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. What are some real-world examples of how this value alignment could actually work?
Good question. Let's go back to the self-driving car example. Imagine a situation where the car has to make a super quick decision to avoid an accident.
Like swerving to avoid a pedestrian, even if it risks the passenger.
Exactly. Now, a regular AI might be programmed to protect the passenger at all costs, even if it means hurting someone else.
Which, yeah, isn't really ethical.
Right. But an AI trained with value alignment might do things differently. It might consider the potential harm to everyone involved, the legal and social consequences, and then make a decision that minimizes overall harm while still being ethical.
So, like, having a tiny philosopher in the driver's seat, weighing all the moral stuff with every decision.
You could say that. We're not quite there yet, but research and value alignment is getting us closer.
That's pretty amazing. But it's not just self-driving cars, right? Value alignment could affect almost every part of our lives.
Absolutely. Think about AI in finance, making decisions about loans and investments, or AI in education, personalizing learning for each student. These are all areas where ethics are really important.
And don't forget about bias in AI. We've seen AI algorithms making unfair decisions based on, like, existing societal biases, which can have real consequences for people.
That's a huge problem, and value alignment researchers are working on it. They're trying to figure out how to spot and fix bias in AI to make sure it's fair, impartial, and equitable.
It sounds like value alignment is this massive field,
Yeah.
bringing together computer science, philosophy, ethics, and probably a ton of other stuff.
Exactly. It's really fascinating, and it's attracting some of the smartest people from all sorts of fields.
This is all super interesting, but I gotta admit, it's a lot to wrap my head around. It's easy to get lost in all the technical stuff and philosophical debates. But in the end, what does this all mean for us, like, in our everyday lives?
That's a great question, and one that we'll keep exploring in the last part of our deep dive. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We've been talking about AI safety and all its complexities.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. But before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to our listeners,
Right, because AI safety isn't just some theoretical thing for academics. It affects all of us.
Totally. And honestly, it can feel kind of overwhelming. Like, where do we even start? What can we actually do to, make a difference?
Well, first off, just stay informed. There's so much info out there about AI. Podcasts like ours, articles, documentaries, even online courses. The more you know about AI, the better you'll be able to have meaningful conversations about it and make informed choices.
Right. Knowledge is power,
Right.
especially with something as crazy and fast-changing as AI.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, demand transparency from those companies building and using these AI systems. We deserve to know how AI is being used and to hold those in charge accountable.
I love that. We can't just blindly trust tech companies to do the right thing. We got to be involved in shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely. Another thing you can do is support organizations that are promoting responsible AI. There are tons of nonprofits, research groups, and advocacy groups out there, and they need our help.
Awesome. I'm definitely down to support those fighting for ethical AI. What else can we do?
Well, think about your choices as a consumer. Support companies that are using AI ethically, and maybe even boycott the ones that aren't. Your wallet can make a statement.
Right. Every dollar we spend is a vote for the kind of world we want.
Exactly. And lastly, don't underestimate the power of your voice. Talk to your friends and family about AI, share what you're learning, raise awareness about the ethical stuff. The more people talking about it, the better.
It's like a grassroots movement for AI ethics. People power.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't just about preventing some dystopian future. It's about shaping the present, making sure AI is used to create a better world for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into AI safety. We've covered a ton of ground today, from the technical details to the philosophical and ethical stuff.
It's been a really interesting conversation. I hope our listeners feel, more informed and ready to get involved in shaping the future of AI.
Me too. A huge thank you to all our amazing listeners for joining us on this journey. Remember, the future of AI is in our hands. Let's make it a future we can all be proud of.